it's supposed to feel.
All right, what's going on, ladies and gents? It's me, Wagner Kutch, with you guys with Neil. Neil, was that an ugly one?
It was horrendous. Zero business winning that game. Against any other team in baseball, we lose that game 6-0. It was so bad. But, sometimes you get positive vibes, and we got a lucky win out there tonight.
You know what, man? It feels good to be on the other side of that coin.
No kidding. No kidding. Because, there are some days where it's like you play really well and you lose, and sometimes you play really badly and you win. We got one of the good ones today, and I'm so happy, even though I was miserable watching 90% of that game.
All right, before we get into it, I was asked if I got the bobblehead. I did get a bobblehead.
Yes.
Lots of stuff happened that day. That was a fun day. Very glad for everybody that came out. First day back after the live, well, not live podcast because Donardo had technical issues, but after the tailgate, yeah, I got a bobblehead. Jim got a bobblehead. Everybody got a bobblehead. It's like Oprah around here, but nobody cares about damn bobbleheads right now. The Pirates won 5-4 over the Oakland Athletics. Just, it's nice to be on the other side of the coin.
Yeah. It's especially nice when you can get a total of 4 hard hit balls all game, be 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, and score 5 runs and win a game. It defies all logic that we won that game. It makes no sense.
No.
The offense was kind of atrocious today. We were just kind of lucky that no one on the Athletics could throw a strike. So, yeah. 10 walks today. When you get 10 walks and 6 hits, you expect to go off. And the offense was awful tonight.
Yeah, it's like reminiscent of some of the teams I've coached in my day where it's like, you know what? They're just so bad they're going to walk you around the bases.
Yeah.
Just don't lose.
It reminds me like when I was in middle school and I read Moneyball for the first time.
Right.
And so I kept priding myself on my on-base percentage. So I was happier when I walked than when I got a hit because I'm like, yeah, I'm being like Scott Hatterberg. But yeah, it was just one of those nights.
And what a team to do it against.
Yeah, it is the team to do it against. Like you cannot be worse than what the A's were tonight. And Tyler can start for the A's. How fast do you think he got in you?
Well, I told Ford on Saturday that he had never seen 65 from the left side, and I think that might be accurate. So probably 65.
All right. Well, we'll throw you out there tomorrow. I bet you can throw strikes more consistently than the A's did tonight.
So yeah, and somebody did bring up in the chat that this was the best that they're going to see from the A's. Tonight might have been the opportunity for the A's to get their win, which it's baseball, you never know. But tonight was, on paper, their best chance to get a win.
Yeah.
And they shit down their leg.
This is also the Pirates, and I can never just guarantee that we're going to win these next 2 games. So.
Never.
Yeah, but these players aren't trying to openly throw a game, but my word, it looked like at times that the Athletics were throwing that game.
Yeah, it's a lot of very bad baseball players combined on one team, and we get it. We've been there.
Yeah,
we've been there for a long time.
Yeah, that was very reminiscent of the 2020 Pirates that I think we just watched. I think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah, and I think you can really just go back to even Sears is a starter here. He pitched a pretty good game. And then in the 5th inning, he's already over 100 pitches. And if you're an Oakland A's fan at that point, you're thinking there is nothing left in the tank for this team. So for that, I guess maybe give the Pirates some credit here.
Yeah.
They did work him a good bit. Whether that's all them, that's questionable. But somehow they got to the A's bullpen, which is just absolutely pathetic.
Yeah.
And found a way to somehow get a win with an absolutely depleted bullpen themselves.
Yeah. And it's kind of, again, it kind of defies all logic because Sears is not a guy who doesn't throw strikes. Coming into today, he was in the 92nd percentile for walks today in the league. 92nd percentile. He cannot find the strike zone. He walks 5 players. He only gives up 2 hits. He gives up 0 hard hit balls in 4.2 innings. Like, he did not pitch badly, but he just wasn't effective. And so, getting to that horrendous A's bullpen and especially chasing them this early, so they have to go to the even worse guys later on. It sets us pretty well for the rest of the series. Like, we were kind of talking about that with the opposite, where like we used our bullpen day and Rich Hill gave us the start we needed. The A's are not looking too pretty with their bullpen after this.
No, not at all. And granted, that's going to mean some probably disastrous results for the next 2 days. But today, we can all be happy. The Pirates somehow pull it out. I'll be honest here. I was driving home. It was 4-1. And I'm thinking, dear God, I have to talk about a loss to the freaking Oakland A's.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like it was going to keep getting worse because Oviedo was not looking good. Like, his stuff was not there. He still had those same issues where he just really struggles to find the plate. And it's not that he's going to walk a lot of guys. The problem is that he was, either not hitting the zone or he was leaving it wide open over the plate that even the A's hitters couldn't not hit. He did settle down. I thought, the last 3 innings by him were quite good. But, yeah, I know we talked about this the last time we were on the show where, like, he kind of screams reliever, and
he screams reliever.
For the first 4 innings, I was like, I agree with this. And in the last 3 innings, like, he just gave us 7 innings of 3-run baseball. But I feel like against an actual team, he gets destroyed tonight. Yeah. And he doesn't make it past 4.
Yeah, the other part of that is we didn't really see the 2-seamer that he started to kind of develop, I guess. I think he only threw maybe 10 or 11 tonight.
Yeah. He threw the sinker 11 times.
11 times. So we didn't really get to see that. I talked about this with Rowanzi. We didn't see the curveball. They seem to be, I don't know if it's a Hedges thing or if it's just something the Pirates are trying to do where they're really trying to hone in on what they do well.
Mm-hmm.
And they're, for some reason, not really dabbling outside that. But for, I guess, the last 2 starts I've been on for, we haven't seen, for Rowanzi's case, we didn't see the curveball much. Tonight, we didn't see Oviedo throw the sinker much.
No.
I don't really know what's going on, but at some point, like, something's got to be mixed in here a little bit.
Yeah, it's very clear that the organizational philosophy is very slider heavy.
Yeah,
like,
obviously.
They brought in Velasquez for a slider. Like, Oviedo's big pitch is a slider. Ortiz's big pitch is a slider. Like, they're like, Oscar Marin loves himself a good slider. But, we kind of talked about this with Ortiz. Like, you got to have that third pitch. And tonight, it was just fastball or slider with maybe a curveball thrown in there, maybe a sinker thrown in there. And it wasn't enough. And, like, if it's not enough against the A's, like, I just, his numbers are okay. Like, Oviedo's numbers are okay, but his peripherals worry me because when he leaves it over the plate, he gets hammered. And I don't know. He does not strike out enough people to justify leaving hand sliders over the plate like that.
So it feels like the Pirates are full of a bunch of just career Vince Velasquez's, where they're just there's one pitch in there that you really like, but the rest is just really not good. And every now and then they're going to flash a little bit of potential, and then a real good team's going to make you pay.
100%.
So at this point, we're in this weird territory where as the team was very bad in May, they still held it together enough. But you're just waiting on that other shoe to drop. Because, like you said, the peripherals, they're not good for anybody at this point. And
except Keller, but
right. And Keller is a different animal. He's throwing 6 pitches. Like,
we're talking about like someone who's like individual, like
right.
only one pitch, and Keller has like 7 of them that he throws all the time. But, so like he is great. But yeah, no, I agree. And like, I guess the problem is like, who do you throw out there that isn't Oviedo in that rotation?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page here that we all believe that Oviedo's got to just kind of throw the rest of the year. There's not much else to do.
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of Brubaker, where it's kind of like, he's probably better in the pen, but you need those innings.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate because if like you add Oviedo, if you have the ability to add Oviedo or Vince Velasquez to this bullpen, and you get the punt, guys like Dion out and Zazinski out, someone's gonna get on me for not being able to pronounce his name. I don't know. But like, if you had that ability, because
they gave me so much shit for calling him Zastrisky.
I just call him Rob Zombie.
Butchered it.
Yeah, I just call him Rob Zombie. It makes it
That's
you know, if you had the ability to move those guys into the pen, like that's a beautiful pitching staff because you have those top end bullpen guys plus those 2 guys like Oviedo and Velasquez who have that one pitch, can come in for an inning, get people out, and make emergency starts. Like when injuries happen, like that is something that's really cool. We're not there yet. And, you know, it is a process, especially when you don't spend any money on pitching in free agency. Like that's just a reality. So like, I still think that long-term Oviedo as a back-end starter is more valuable to the team than him in the bullpen role, just by the nature of having a guy who can go out and give you starts like this, even if they're shaky. But in an ideal world, I would put Oviedo in a bullpen.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree that he's better off in the backpen or the back-end role, but at this point, I'm very willing to find out if there's more there. So I'm willing to let it shake out because I've been wrong many times in my life. So I'd rather find out for sure rather than just shove him in a back end role. So I'm okay with it. He pitched fine tonight, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the result wise, you would probably look at it and say he pitched well-ish, but I'd call it more fine.
I mean, again, I just think against a better team, he doesn't make it out past 4 innings. And unfortunately, that's just the way we got lucky tonight. And like Oviedo, I think, has had some pretty lucky starts. I can't imagine it's going to continue like this the rest of the season, though. Unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think, like, it's all going to shake out to the point where he's probably going to be okay.
Yeah.
Enough that you can live with it, but it's not one that you're really thrilled about. We're going to end up in the same position, I feel like, next year in November, where we're talking about Johan Oviedo probably being better suited in the pen.
Yeah. And I think what kind of comes down to, because I think it's fair to have these conversations now, if you were going into game 4 of an NLDS series, do you feel confident throwing Oviedo out there on the mound?
Not a chance.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, where like he's not good enough for like what we would need to do in a playoff situation.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys like that. You can survive, like you can be a good baseball team with a bunch of number 3 starters.
Yeah.
The problem is that Oviedo, I don't know, is a number 3. I think
At least not yet. No.
Right. Does he have the potential to be a number 3? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Is he? I think the odds are better that you get more of a career out of him from the bullpen. There's just more value there, I feel like, in the long run.
Yeah, I understand that. And like I think on a good baseball team, yeah, Oviedo is like your 7th inning reliever. And he'd be excellent in that role. I can't blame the Pirates for trying to find a cheap starting pitcher though, because cheap starting pitcher, and that's why I think he's the most like valuable in the rotation, because like the most valuable thing in terms of money right now is cheap quality starting pitching.
And you mentioned, does he start like a game 4? No.
Yeah.
I think even more than that, at the deadline, is he a guy you're looking to upgrade on? I would say yes.
Yeah, I would say that too.
If you are in contention, he's a guy you're looking to upgrade from.
Yeah, no, and he's definitely a guy, like, if you bring in another starter, you don't trade Hill, you don't trade Velasquez, you bring in a starter, then you can get a lot more flexible, especially since Priester's coming up soon, I imagine, since the developmental boxes are about to be checked. And yeah, I mean, but I think it's a good problem to have, though, at the very least, like the fact that you have someone like Oviedo who has some place on this roster in some capacity. He's not like a complete lost cause. And so, yeah, it's not ideal, but Oviedo has been fine, even if I'm not sure he's going to continue to be fine, because looking at his slider placement on Savant right now is giving me anxiety.
Yeah. But someone mentioned, like, he's a guy you keep on the roster.
Yeah,
he is. 100%. Like, there's a spot on this team for him. Like, he's good enough to be on this roster for sure, to be a very useful piece.
Yeah.
Aside from him, do you want to just move into the bullpen here? Because I feel like there was just a lot of questionable things done tonight.
Yeah, especially as someone who's basically Shelton's biggest defender, I have no clue why we're going to Rob Zombie in a 1-run game.
Rob Zombie.
Yeah, we're going to stick with that.
All right, that'll work.
Like, why is he, of all people, coming in a 1-run game? He's not good. It's not. He gets more high leverage situations than Yohan Oviedo does, and I don't get it.
No, it's stupid. It's honestly that the move to go to Zastrisny there was absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
Like, there's no defending it. Perdomo at this point shows you more than him. Zastrisny has done nothing in his entire career, even in the minors, to show he belongs. He's bad. No planet should he be coming in the 8th inning.
I agree. I also just don't think Perdomo is good at all either.
I don't either. But
like, I was watching it the entire time, and in Discord I was like, how does he get away with it? He's throwing 90
because he's 6'9".
Like, he's throwing 92 miles an hour in the zone, and they aren't hitting it. Like, that was my entire thought through the 3 innings he pitched against the Cardinals. Like, it makes no sense. So, like, yeah, at the moment you ride the hot hand, you go to Perdomo, you say, hey, you're getting us outs now. But neither of these guys, we're first place in the division after tonight. Neither of these guys can be on the roster in 3 weeks.
But the difference is that Perdomo, for all his faults, he actually can miss a bat.
Fair.
We don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
But he can. And for some reason he is.
Yeah.
Zastrisny is not, and he never will.
Nope, that's entirely fair. I mean, I kind of put Z in like the same category I put Will Crow, where like what does he do well? As a reliever, you need like one good pitch, at least. Does he have a single good pitch in his arsenal?
So I would put Zastrisny in the same boat as like Cam View.
That's fair.
That's where I'm at with him. Like, he's just a guy who, when you're down by 10 runs, you can go throw him 80 pitches and nobody cares. And then we'll watch people whine about it the next day. He is as useless gets on a Major League Ball club. And for a team that has no lefties, for this guy to be the first lefty out of the pen is atrocious.
Yeah. And like Wireless Grapes mentioned earlier, Jose Hernandez pitched once. Like, he's got to be that guy out of the bullpen. He has been so good this year. And like, I know he's not going to stay like as good as like what he's doing right now, but you know, it's been a great pickup through the Rule 5 draft. Please use him. Like,
yeah, I mean, but when you look at the three lefties you have, stuff wise, it's Jose Hernandez, and then 100%. It's the other two. Now, I think you can look at Perdomo and you see the swings and miss stuff. The stuff doesn't jump off a page, but for some reason, guys don't hit him. I can live with that more than a Rob Zastrisny that just, for some reason, got outs.
Rob Zastrisny had like 2 good outings as a Pirate, and then just hasn't gotten anyone out since.
He should have been DFA'd like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
there's no reason he's on this team, and the fact that he got the 8th inning of the night is very depressing. But
I mean,
hey, got a dub out of it.
Point, like, you know, you can DFA him at this point because Perdomo is pretty much like this. I pretty much put him in the same useless tier, but he's still better. So what is he on? Why is he on the roster? Like, and I don't want to like, you know, go and like bring up trades, but it makes the Stevenson trade so weird because Stevenson wasn't good this year. Like, I don't want to say like, oh yeah, love Stevenson, but when these guys are now getting high leverage situations, why was Stevenson traded for a nobody? It doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, just in general, the night really did question the bullpen depth. It also questioned just Derek Shelton's managerial decisions to a point where, once again, I question whether I want him anywhere near a competing team.
See, and I'm completely fine with this bullpen management. I think
I
legitimately, it's like, if it kind of goes both ways, and I think I mentioned this last year, like every single time something goes bad, he is shelled for it. But I mean, I think there have been times where he just has managed his bullpen perfectly over the past couple of weeks where he gets us those wins. So like, I don't know. I also just don't think managers have that much of an impact on wins and losses.
It's an argument for another day, but I kind of disagree, but don't. Either way, like, I'll give Derek Shelton credit. They got a win. Yesterday, he goes with Bednar for a 3rd day in a row. That one worked out. So, I mean, you can argue it all day.
Yeah, I have to assume that they were just terrified of using arms today because of how many arms were used over the weekend. I think that's the only like logical reason I can think of why they would use the arms the way that they did. And they wanted to save Holderman for the 9th.
Yeah.
But I mean, just go to like Moreta faced like 2 batters all weekend.
Even I questioned, like, do you really want to go with Oviedo for the 7th? Like, at that point, just you got a quality start out of him. Take that.
Yeah.
Even then, I was like, do we really want to bring him back out here? It worked out. So I guess you can't really complain, but
yeah, no, I mean, the bullpen was not good tonight, but you know, we've had it's nice that we don't have to complain about the bullpen too often, you know.
And the thing is, all we have to talk about tonight, really, Neil, is pitching, because the offense did absolutely nothing and scored 5 runs.
No, and at the very least, we can take solace in the fact that Z has only pitched 11 innings this year. So even though he's awful, he is almost never playing. He's kind of like our Chris Owens of the bullpen, where he gets in occasionally and pisses everyone off when he's in.
Yeah, but I'm going to complain about it every time.
You know what? That's entirely fair.
But do we want to talk about the offense much? I mean,
we can.
I don't know really what to talk about. I mean, if we really want to talk about the offensive players, I guess in the 9th, as Wireless Grapes brings up, Marcano had a great play. Honestly, a game-saving play.
Yeah. Well,
Also, to your credit, of what you said about Shelton, great move bringing Marcano in to play short there. That's a play that probably nobody else in short makes on this team.
Yeah. And I was about to yell at Marcano because I'm like, why did you pick up the ball instead of Bay? Because Bay had forward momentum. We're like, what are you doing? But no, great play. I mean, it's always nice when you get 10 walks. It helps when a guy I now want on the Pirates of Fujinami can't throw a strike to save his life and walks 2 players with the bases loaded. But I mean, yeah, but there was also a ton of strikeouts. Let's say 4, 6, 8. We struck out 10 times to the Oakland Athletics.
It's not great.
No, like when you have 16 base runners, you should be doing better than what we did tonight. And it's hard to complain too much because the offense has woken up, and this is a limited offense. Like, this is not going to be a world-beating offense. The talent is just not there. Mm-hmm. When you were trotting out Mark Mathias and Austin Hedges, you're not going to score a lot of runs on a nightly basis. But, you know, Kutch was the only real hitter of note. He didn't even get a hit.
No, he walked 3 times.
And a sacrifice fly.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they have woken up a hair lately, really, since the calendar turned.
Yeah.
But in general, there's still not much to get excited about. The guys are like the guys you had hoped would turn it around. They're starting to hit the ball over the wall. Connor Joe's kind of picking it up a little bit. Brian Hayes the last week or so hitting the ball. Aside from that, there's Brian Reynolds. You're still waiting on him to turn it on.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big part is we're just waiting on Brian Reynolds to turn it on.
Oh, I also got to say, Carlos Santana should not be batting 4th anymore.
Yeah, it's been my entire life of this Pirates team not having a guy that can hit in the cleanup spot.
Like, I understand why he's there. I feel like he's there because, like, he seems to be a guy who can come in and get a clutch hit. But with the players we have on this team, there's no excuse for a guy with a sub 700 OPS hitting cleanup.
Yeah, he is closing in on having a similar OPS to G1 Bay. Yeah. They are very close to this point.
Actually, G1 Bay is 10 points higher.
Is he really?
Yeah.
After today? Woo. That's sad.
Yeah. And, you know, like Santana's obvious, you know, Santana's there for the vibes. He's there for the clubhouse leadership, and I think he does that very well. But I will not be upset if he takes the sideshow when Choi comes back.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's been my entire life of not having a cleanup hitter. Like, just a guy that can hit a baseball and hit like a 730 OPS a cleanup. Nobody can do it.
We had Pedro Alvarez for a couple of years.
He could not hit cleanup either.
I mean,
he could hit 5th.
Okay, fair enough.
He could not hit cleanup.
Does Garrett Jones count?
I think he might be the closest thing to
maybe Adam LaRoche for a year or two
after like May.
Aramis Ramirez, maybe.
No, he was terrible at that point. He could not hit cleanup either. There's nobody that I can remember in my lifetime that could hit cleanup.
Yeah, I believe you. It's kind of like the first base problem where we've never had a good first baseman.
It's just nobody can do it. At one point, I remember they put Starling Marte there because nobody else could hit cleanup.
I do remember that. That was awful. I mean, I love Starling Marte more than life itself, but like, yeah, he should not be batting cleanup.
It's just been a lifelong problem as Pirates fans. Nobody can hit there because nobody can hit a curveball.
Yeah. And, you know, Austin Hedges got one of our only 2 extra base hits today.
Just a weird day. Just weird baseball. And I think you should expect that every single time you play the A's.
Yeah, it was just it was like watching a minor league baseball game.
No, it was bad.
Like I'll go to a local minor league team and like there's some really bad defense there, or like the pitchers just can't hit the zone. It looked a lot like a AA game out there tonight. Yeah,
it makes it tough to watch. That's also why we're on at 11:05. instead of a normal like 10:30 post-game show
Yeah.
because this was just a bad baseball game.
Yeah. It took so long. Oh,
Very
man.
long.
The game was so bad it destroyed Doug's internet.
It really did. Yeah. But anything else you really want to talk about tonight, Neil? Because there's nothing hitting wise I really need to touch on.
I think we got through it all.
Yeah.
I think we did a good job with what we had.
At the end of the day, the Pirates are in first place.
It is. And for all our bitching and moaning, we are in first place.
I'll be honest, I thought this team would be at least 7 games below 500 at this point. After the May we had, I thought it was over.
Yeah, I was not confident going into the Cardinal series in the slightest. Like when we went down 5-0, I'm like, yep, here we go. And I think I guess the one positive I'll say about the offense tonight is that they were timely.
Yeah,
like once we started scoring and like we started giving runs back to the A's, we came back with a response immediately, multiple times. Mm-hmm. And how we got that was not great. But we take it, and we always take the win. We are now 5 games over 500. We're in first place. Hopefully, we can continue that. Maybe cheering for the Reds makes me vomit in my mouth a little bit, but I hope they destroy the Brewers tomorrow.
Hey, all you can do is win the games in front of you.
Amen.
Tomorrow we got Mitch Keller.
Yes.
Very excited about that one. Then we got Ruanzi after that. I mean, if the Pirates don't get 2 or 3 here, kind of sad.
Yeah, we're not very good against teams over 500. We got to beat up on the bad teams like the Cardinals and the Athletics.
Exactly. Cardinals and Athletics, both bad teams, need to beat them up. All
Feels
right.
good to say.
It really does. All right. Let's get the hell out of here. Pirates win 5-4. First place in the division. We're back, baby.
Woo.
All right. We're out of here. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.